For sure, dude. Before we get into the whole McGregor thing, fucking A, dude. Jon Jones busted again, back at it with the PEDs.
He loves it, man. He loves his drug.
Man, I can't say I'm surprised, though. Like, I gotta be honest.
No, I'm not.
A lot of people, and I don't know if this is just, making good conversation for the camera, but a lot of fighters, a lot of people involved in the sport just, I can't believe this. How could he do this? I'm just so shocked that, Jon would do this. It's like, why? Like, why? Like, this is kind of his MO.
Not his first time.
No, it's definitely not his first time. And
I mean, he's been busted for multiple different things. He's had this particular substance before, to the second time. And then he was on coke one time, right? He was on cocaine.
Right.
Which they count as a PED. And then, there was, he's got a history with this stuff. It's not like so shocking based on his personal and professional past.
Yeah, for sure. This is kind of par for the course, if you will. And
I think what people are shocked about is just the judgment, like how bad his judgment is.
Yeah, that I can see.
I don't know. It makes me think that people are getting away with this shit because why would you do it? Like, why would you do it?
Yeah.
He's like, what's his? Has he come out with a statement or something or some? Like, it's just bewildering as to why he would do it. I mean, obviously, you know why you do it because you're scared. It comes from fear. You don't think that you can do it without the drug, so you take the steroids. That's where it comes from. It's just it's weakness. You can see that it's weakness. And I get it. I mean, the guy's it's his job. He wants to do a good job, but like, just the judgment is what's shocking. Like, what logic did they use? It's not just him, is it? It's the guys in his camp. He's not doing it by himself. There's a couple guys in his camp who are at least not dissuading him. It's not actively encouraging him. What line of logic do you have that you would do that once you've already been caught and people are getting caught left, right, and center?
Yeah, man. It's a very strange situation. Strange, not strange for him, but definitely like you know they're gonna be on your ass, dude. They're gonna be on your ass.
The consequences are huge. After the whole Mark Hunt, Brock Lesnar, where Mark Hunt, and there was that article that you sent me, where Mark Hunt basically opened up a lawsuit against both UFC and Brock Lesnar. It kind of makes sense. You can understand where these guys are coming from. They did not sign up to fight a juiced up dude. Otherwise, it's like, all right, well, cool. You can have juice, but I'm gonna have juice too. You know what I'm saying? Like, fine. If we're all gonna be just popping pills, and shooting up whatever, throwing the ball or whatever whatever this stuff is, then fine. But at least make the level, the playing field level. And the thing is, like, these guys get tested, and by the time those tests come through, the fight's already happened. So you can get away with taking these steroids for a fight. No one's really going to stop you. It's only the repercussions only going to come after.
Right.
So it makes me think that the mentality of these guys is all they care about. It's not about their legacy. It's not about testing yourself. It's not about martial arts. It's not about the money. It's just about fucking the other dude up. That's it. That's it. All he wanted to do was fuck Daniel Cormier up. All that Brock Lesnar wanted to do was fuck Mark. Brock Lesnar even made more sense because Brock Lesnar is not an MMA fighter. Right? He's a wrestler. He's a world wrestling entertainment wrestler. And he's coming into a new world and he doesn't give a shit. He can get banned. They can take his price away. He'll go right back to WWF or whatever. And he'll start playing make-believe and putting on makeup and doing whatever they're doing in the WWE. But, I don't like it, but at least I understand it. He just wanted to go in there in front of thousands of people and whoop them up, right? And feel good about himself, pump himself up. He's a juice head. He's a meathead. That makes sense. But for Jon Jones to do it doesn't make any sense at all to me. Especially with all the repercussions that are going to come his way. I mean, in the article you sent, it's like it's not just getting banned. Like, oh yeah, slap on the wrist, another 2 years, you're not going to be able to fight for. The sentence gets much longer in terms of how long you're going to be banned for. I don't know what it goes up to.
I think it's 4 years.
Long. 4 years. 4 years. The dude's like, what, 30, early 30s, you know? He's going to be in his mid-30s by the time he's allowed to compete again.
Yep. Man, look, man, not only that, though, but I've seen a few articles. There's some talk. I don't know if this is from Daniel Cormier directly or just from his lawyer saying, hey, this is a possibility. But there's some talk of the potential for Cormier to sue Jones.
And I can understand that, you know, like, you can understand, like, he wants to punish him for cheating. You know, he disrespected. In fact, in a way, it's kind of a sign of respect that he took the steroids in the first place, because he was obviously scared of Daniel Cormier, otherwise he wouldn't have taken it. But he did suffer a pretty bad concussion. He got hurt pretty bad, Daniel Cormier, and I can understand the mentality. I'm not sure I would do it if I were him, but like, I understand the mentality of these guys saying, look, you want to take, you know, that this wasn't part of the agreement. This wasn't part of our bargain. You kind of stabbed me in the back, and then you made me look, you know, real bad too. You knocked me out, and you know, got me up there crying, you know. And would that have happened without the steroids? I don't think so. I mean, you saw the way Jon Jones took those punches. Does a regular man take those punches that Cormier was giving him? Maybe, maybe not. But I don't think it would have gone down like that. You know, you can see it. Jones had a killer instinct that I haven't seen him have for a long time, pretty much ever. You know, he was definitely, you could see that he was benefiting from those stories.
Well, look, I'll say this. You know, the article where Cormier's lawyer was speaking was essentially saying this: there could be grounds for a lawsuit under the guise of fraud, which is essentially what you're saying, which is the rule sets are what I'm consenting and agreeing to is fighting you under such and such rules, with one of the stipulations being that you will not be under the effects of any performance enhancing drugs. You have violated those rule sets, and thus you have won fraudulently. You have gained, you have gained from this, and I have detrimented from it, not only monetarily, but to my career and my health. I suffered a severe head trauma because you have engaged in this type of activity, and it's going to look really good in court when you have, before Daniel Cormier even knows anything about this, talking about, you know, I'm missing 15, 20 minutes of time. I don't remember what happened. Like, that would look really good in court. That would look really good in court. Man, he kicked me in the head, and I don't even know. I got 20 minutes of my life that's just gone now. I don't know what happened. I'm like severely fucked up and concussed. That's going to look good in court, man.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, I think it would.
I don't know, dude. Like, you know, I've said this before about life in general, and I think Jones is a good public example of this, which is when you find somebody who's constantly in a situation, it's not the environment, it's them. You know, you'll see people who, they go live with a cousin, and then they get kicked out. And then they go live with their uncle, and then they get kicked out. And then they move into their grandma's place, and then they get kicked out. And then they come to you and say, hey man, I'm having tough times, I need a place to stay. It ain't the times, brother, it's you. You're fucking up, you know. And this is an example of that. Jones is consistently finding himself on the end of, oh man, dang, what a situation, what a conundrum I'm in. Gee whiz, golly gee. It's like, nah, dude, you're kind of fucking up, bro.
Yeah, I think he needs to sort his head out, really. I think he needs to take a break from fighting and sort his head out, because he's obviously got something going on up there that ain't right, you know. It's just fucking stupid, dude. The stuff he does, his life is business, you know. Not to get too personal, I don't know the dude, but fucking hell, I mean, how stupid can you be, you know?
Well, for sure, from the outside looking in, it definitely looks dumb.
It doesn't look, it's not a good look.
Do you suppose Do you suppose that this is kind of the it came too easy syndrome, where you'll see like if you have to really work for something and struggle to get it, and like it takes a lot for you to get there, and you have to invest a lot to achieve what you want to achieve, you really, really value it. But you'll notice with some people, when a certain quality, a certain attribute, a certain gift just comes to them too easy, it doesn't feel special. They treat it like it's not important, and they're quick to either just lose interest and fall out, or to risk it and gamble losing it doing dumb shit.
I think it's a bit of that. It's also just a bit of like emotional maturity. When he hit the big time, he was in his early 20s. I mean, you're still a kid. You're still a kid. Your brain isn't even fully formed yet until you're mid to late 20s. Like, you're still a kid, and you see it time again with athletes in many, many different sports. Like, you know, you peaking too early. You're peaking too early, and people find it very difficult to sustain that. If anyone watches soccer, I know you don't. But guys like a Wayne Rooney, right? A Wayne Rooney, for example, he was at 16, 17 years old, which is way younger than your peak in soccer. He was tipped to be the next big thing, like the next superstar, he's going to change the sport, because he was that good and he showed such promise when he was young. And he was still amazing. You know, he was still like a legend of the sport, but he just didn't reach the same height, and it's to do with peaking too early and not being able to sustain and maintain that momentum. That, like you said, like it's really easy for you when you're young. It all comes so easy, and then you're king of the world. And it's hard to sustain that. The really special ones, the really great ones, are the ones that either took a lot longer to reach the pinnacle, or they did reach the pinnacle young, and either they had people in their lives that helped, or they were just able somehow to be mature enough to handle that level of success and the limelight and being top dog. Like we said, you know, like getting to champion is easier than maintaining the belt, you know, like defending the belt. It's easier to take the belt one time than to sustain it time after time. And I think a bit of that creeps in, you know, that pressure creeps in, and people don't really know what to do with it. You know, we spoke about this on previous podcasts where Jon Jones has said, I don't mean to pick on Jones, like, personally. I think this is just kind of a interesting universal psychological thing.
Yeah.
Jones has said, I think you told me about this, that, you know, he's famous for not, as time went on, he would train and train less for each time he defended the belt. So he would train and train less, and his partying would increase, and his wildness would increase. And he might be absent for the gym for weeks, you know.
Yeah.
So the story goes. And he said, look, you know what it was? If I don't invest anything, if I don't train, and I lose, then I can always say to myself, fuck it, I didn't even try. I didn't care about that, you know? I can always lie to myself and say, I didn't really care about it. You know, and people have these weird kind of complexes and weird self-sabotaging behaviors to protect their ego. You know, they don't want to pretend, they basically don't want to say, you know what, I tried and I failed. If they're scared of failing, and the safety belt is saying, oh, I didn't really try. You know, so that kind of mentality, being at the top is hard. You need a whole new set of mental weapons to stay at the top. It's not the same as getting to the top. And I think Jon Jones just crumbled. He just, and also I think he probably has a big fear of losing, because he never lost.
Yeah.
He never lost. He got DQ'd once when he was destroying, what was it, Matt Hamill?
Yep.
He never lost. You know? So, as each successive win kind of increases that pressure. A guy like Mayweather can handle it. Mayweather has an emotional maturity, and that's part of the reason why Mayweather is so good, is he was able to sustain that mentality for 20 years, being at the top, getting 49-0, and he never let the pressure get to him. He always just stuck to the game. He was boring. Yeah, he was boring. He wouldn't take risks. But you have to take your hat off to a guy like that, because to stay champion for that long, to stay undefeated for that long, requires a real specialness, I think. Jon Jones didn't have that specialness. He had the specialness to get to the championship, to be champion at such a young age and in such a dominant fashion, but he didn't have the specialness to maintain it in any way that was particularly impressive to him.
Yeah, dude. I think...
My opinion.
Of course. None of this is written in stone. We're just, two dudes sharing what we think. But,
yeah, and I would also love to hear his side of the story. I really doubt that there's anything substantial there. I think he was just scared after such a long layoff. But I would love to hear his side of the story and him to come clean. Because really he has nothing to lose. Everyone thinks he's a dickhead at this point. So he might as well just, come clean and say, look, I fucked up. This is why.
You know what? And it's funny, Chael Sonnen was recently saying the same thing. I want to make this comparison real quick before I forget it, though. The Jon Jones syndrome, the peaking too early syndrome, it's equivalent to child stars. People who become famous, like, Justin, what's his name? Bieber. Is Justin Bieber?
Justin Bieber, yeah.
Justin Bieber.
There's a lot of similarities between Justin Bieber and Jon Jones, I think.
Huh?
There's a lot of similarities between Justin Bieber and Jon Jones. Sometimes.
As you called it, I've peaked. I've grown up. I've come into my maturity, constantly having the world tell me I'm the shit and my shit don't stink. You see this with really, really hot girls too. Whenever you grow up, childhood stars, athletes who peak too early, and chicks that are just too fucking hot for their own good. When you grow up being the shit and no one can tell you, hey, shut the fuck up, you sound dumb, or hey, you're not as hot as you fucking think you are, you have a warped sense of reality as far as what you can get away with because you've gotten away with it for so long. And when it finally starts catching up to you, it's easy to be like, oh, well, this is a fluke, or, well, what are they, like, don't they know who I am? Like, it's easy to get caught up in that. And I think we can say, like, Jon Jones is like the Danny Bonaducci of MMA. Do you know who Danny Bonaducci is?
I didn't know.
There was an old show, I believe it was Leave It to Beaver. He was a kid in that show. Anyway, he was a childhood star. He grew up, and he just became like an alcoholic. He's like, just got super fucked up and was always in the news getting in trouble for dumb shit. He was in the news for like socking some tranny one time. He was in the news for like being, like, he's just always in the news for some crazy shit.
Yeah.
That's Jon Jones, but for MMA.
Yeah, I was going to say Michael Jackson, but I don't know if there's any way.
Right.
It doesn't work. I think these kids or whatever. Jon Jones wasn't like 6 years old. He was like 21. So I think it's quite sad. But yeah, it's the same pattern. I think peaking too early doesn't seem to work for most people. Well, but there are some individuals who are able to. I don't know what the difference is between those people who are able to like not let it get to them, not let their ego get involved in everyone else.
Well, first you mentioned he was 22, but remember that's just when we came to being aware of him. He had a collegiate wrestling background. He had an athletic background prior to MMA, and if he was who he is in MMA, I would have to imagine there was some carryover into who he was before MMA. And
I'm sure he was probably good at everything he tried athletically. I bet he was good at freaking ping pong and racquetball and everything he tried.
Right.
He's one of them dudes,
No question. Yeah, man, it's just really a shame because you have a guy who really could have gone down as like the best of all time. And now you can't. Because once you get popped for, now it's official. Like it wasn't, before there was some like iffiness. Well, maybe he bought the dick pills and it sounds a little bit suspicious, but I guess maybe if they made it in the same barrel that they made some other shit, there could have been some that's gone now. It's like, nah, motherfucker, you got caught with a straight up steroid. Like, it is what it is now. And if you got caught with it now, that means you probably been doing it. You know?
Yeah.
And here's another... Go ahead.
I was just curious as to the... I'd love to hear an insider scoop as to... I mean, Nate Diaz alluded to it. He said everyone in the UFC is on steroids. How many of these guys are getting away with it? Because I feel as though for everyone who gets caught, there's two people who aren't getting caught.
Yeah.
But I don't know. That's just a hunch. I might be talking out loud. Maybe everyone gets caught. I don't really know.
Well,
I don't know anyone who does it.
I suspect, like most professional high-level athletes, the majority of people are trying to tip the scale in their favor with some methodology. You know, this person, it may be steroids. That person, it may be blood doping. The next person, it may be whatever the fuck they're doing. But when you have millions of dollars on the line, that's a lot of incentive to fucking go, you know, do this little thing that hopefully nobody finds out about. You know what I'm saying? And speaking of dick pills, here's another syndrome that I think we see with Jon Jones is I suspect that if he has been using as long as I suspect he has, he may just be reliant on the drug to feel, psychologically, he may feel like, well, I've been winning with this so long, I don't know if I can do without it. Similar to a guy, I'm not speaking from personal experience here, but from what I hear, you have guys who casually or recreationally use dick pills, and there's such a champ on the dick pill, the next time they use the dick pill, and the next time they use the dick pill, and the next time they use the dick pill, and then eventually they're like, fuck, I don't know if I can be the man without the dick pill. You know? And I think this is what we're seeing with Jon Jones as far as the PEDs. Yeah,
clutch.
Yeah,
absolutely. Ron Jeremy said he never took Viagra because he was scared that was going to happen. So a lot of other dudes in the industry.
Life coach Ron Jeremy.
Don't take big pills. Stay away, kids.
Just beware when life coach Ron Jeremy says he's going to give you a tip. Just be cautious.
yeah, he's very good at giving people tips.
Comedy.
A lot of tips.
So I mean, what happens?
But that opens up a whole can of worms.
Yeah.
You know, you've seen guys like Overeem. Like Overeem was like, he was good, and then he took the roids and he was great, and then he stopped taking roids, and I don't know what happened to him. You get reliant on it. You can tell, you do build a reliance. So it's kind of like, it's short term. I can see why it's tempting for these guys, even if they were to get away with it once or twice. But long term, it doesn't seem to work out for people,
Yeah.
Especially like you said, with that physical and mental reliance. And what you said about the mental aspect as well is very interesting. Is like you can see that people's body is different when they're on juice, but people's minds are very different when they're on the juice. Like you can see the confidence level go up.
Yeah.
You can see the killer instinct level go up. You can see it in guys when they're on juice. Like people have this absolutely dominant performance, and they're just laser focused and super confident, super ready. Then you find out that they're on roids, and you're like, yeah, you know what? You can kind of tell he was on roids. Aside from the body, aside from the extra muscle and the leanness and whatever that it gives to these guys, you can see it in their mentality and everything, the way they move, just their confidence levels. The way Jon Jones took those punches, he took some big right hands in the first round or two from Cormier, and he just got stronger from him. He wasn't dazed or anything. So, you really don't know how far the rabbit hole goes with this stuff. I don't know what the limit is.
I think you're right about the confidence thing. You can see it in their confidence. It reminds me of, I've lived in a tough neighborhood, and I did security for about 10 years in a fairly tough neighborhood. And there's something that you sometimes you can tell a guy is packing a gun or packing some shit without seeing the shit, just based on how he carries himself. There's I wish a motherfucker would swagger that somebody who's got some in their pocket, in their back pocket that you don't know about has when he wishes a motherfucker would, because he knows I can always rely on this. And there is a version of that you see in people who get popped for whatever PED they get popped for. There is this motherfucker don't know I got X, Y, and Z in my back pocket that I'm you know what I mean?
It's probably 50-50 thing, you know. There's probably a lot of placebo in that too. You know, like just the fact that you are on juice and the other dude isn't is going to be a huge confidence boost for these guys.
Yeah.
Same thing with Brock. He was so dominant against Mark Hunt, like so aggressive and so dominant, so confident. And when you take it back to like that fight he had against Overeem or Kane, where he got dropped from almost nothing, he got dropped from. You can just see the mentality so different.
Yeah. Yeah, man. Yeah, man, for sure. For sure.
Should we talk about what everyone else has been talking about?
Yeah, real quick before that, I don't know what happens from here with Jones. You know, they were talking about a Jones Stipe fight, I think, coming around December or so, man, and like that's out the window.
Guess not, unless it's a big hoax.
Then that definitely gets rid of. That definitely gets rid of.
He was probably pissed off.
Who?
DC. He was probably pissed off because he couldn't get a rematch against him as well. He got him get banned, you know. So maybe that's why the reason why he's thinking about taking legal action. He's like, look, I want to get you back. You know, I want to cut back, but I can't do it in the ring.
Right.
So maybe I'll do it in the courtroom.
Yeah, dude. It's a big loss to the sport as far as potential goes, and you know. At this point,
there were a lot of fights. There were a lot of fights that could have happened with Jon Jones.
Man, there goes Lesnar Jones. There goes Stipe Jones. You know.
Lesnar Jones, I feel like you could just have like a little separate, you know, a little umbrella, separate organization where people are allowed to do roids.
Right.
Put them in Japan. Send them both to Japan. Let them do roids and see what happens. It's so funny that he called out Lesnar. That is hilarious. It's so funny that he called out Lesnar right after that fight.
Right.
What does that tell you? He called the other dude who got popped.
Right.
PED. The other high-profile case. But he knows. They're in a club together.
Yeah.
And I think maybe they should. And I think Overeem should join that club and just stick them all in there. Take them to Japan. Take him to Japan or Brazil and let him run loose.
Does Yoel Romero make it into that club or not?
I don't know. Has he been caught yet? Or is he just disguising it really well?
He's been hit for something that was deemed to be a tainted supplement before, you know. Yeah. But I know this. He's 40 fucking years old and he looks like the Incredible Hulk.
He looks like Short.
No question, man.
Short to that guy. In his prime. I think Lombard too. He was real good when he was.
Yeah, you know, he's kind of disappeared now. It seems like ever since the testing came out, fucking Lombard is just vamoose. Like he's just going off into the ether.
Crawling under their rock. Yeah, waiting for new rules to come out that says you can do so.
Right.
They should just have a separate organization for them in some other country.
Yeah. For sure.
Anyway.
Dude, so a couple new bits of footage have come out in the Malignaggi Conor McGregor soap opera. This is fun. So there was this video that came out where Malignaggi is sitting there like arm around Mayweather, and him and all the Mayweather crew are laughing, saying essentially, haha, you know, Malignaggi was a spy. I know all the shit you're going to do. Woo-wah, bam, we got you. McGregor's team, ha, ha, ha. I sent somebody in. We got all your info. What's your take on that, man? Is that legit? Do you think Malignaggi was actually spying and relating information, or do you think that's just a ploy to hype up before the fight? Because notice, this comes out like literally the day before the fight.
I think that. Let me backtrack a little bit. I think that Paulie is pretty embarrassed about that video surfacing. I mean, I don't know how you cut it any other way apart from him getting a bit of a spanking. He got spanked pretty hard. And he was set up. You know, I understand why he's pissed off. They flew him in. He thought that they were going to be buddies and just have a little sparring contest and help, you know, Conor train for his fight. And he thought they were going to be friends or whatever. And Conor was still pissed off about the stuff that Paulie had said like a few months or whatever before. And Conor set up, Conor's camp set up 12 rounds, and he just beat the shit out of him. The guy had like just stepped off the plane and so on and so forth. He hasn't been training for months, you know, and he does 12 rounds. He was a fight. He had a fight, and he had cameras, and he had referees, and he had everyone watching the fight. He wanted to beat him up, and he wanted to embarrass him, and he wanted to steamroll him on his way to Mayweather. I can see both sides of the story. I can see why Paulie's pissed off. I can see why Conor did it. I can see why it was helpful for the McGregor camp. So having said that, that makes that video, and maybe you can post the link underneath, but if you see that video with Mayweather and his buddies, kind of, Paulie doesn't talk too much in that video.
Uh-huh.
So it makes me, the way I saw it is, Mayweather is kind of just trying to help Paulie out a little bit and also trying to use it to his benefit. And now that Conor's embarrassed Paulie in that way, he sees an opportunity to talk to Paulie and say, yo, so what's his weaknesses then? And I think that's what that conversation is. I don't think he planted Paulie there. Even if he did, it doesn't really matter because the video shows that Malignaggi got his ass whooped. He just did, because that's what the video shows. And however which way you skin it, that doesn't change that fact. So if there was some ploy, if there was some clever plot by Mayweather to plant a little spy there and then receive information about McGregor, I don't think that really works. But if they're retroactively, which is what I believe happened, if Mayweather's retroactively using Malignaggi to extract information about McGregor, then I think it's clever for McGregor, and Paulie's just taking that opportunity because it might lessen his embarrassment a little bit by saying, ha, I got you back, you know? I think he's just basically trying to soften the blow and pretend like he had some game plan or whatever. I don't think that's bullshit. I'm calling bullshit on that one. That's my take for it.
I think that's a very reasonable take. So in some of the different groups I'm in, one point that was brought up is this is obviously fake because McGregor called Malignaggi into their camp as opposed to Malignaggi approaching the camp. But I would say that if McGregor's team called Malignaggi, there would most my mouth doesn't want to work. There was most likely time for Malignaggi to call Mayweather and be like, hey, I just got this offer. What's up? What do you think? You want me to, woo-wah, bam? That's totally possible.
Yeah. That's possible. Yeah, 100%. That's totally possible.
That said, though...
And boxers are also quite cautious about working with McGregor because there's this big boxing versus MMA thing going on, and boxers want to stay loyal to boxing, and there's a lot of that going on. And you can hear boxers talk about it. A lot of the top guys are talking about it. They'll be like, I wouldn't do it. I'm not going to try and help him. And you can just see, like, it's very much bigger than McGregor Mayweather.
Yeah,
it's boxing versus MMA, and boxing has a lot to lose, and you don't want to be the guy who helped MMA.
It's funny that you say that. It's funny that you say that because Andre Berto said almost the exact same thing word for word on his interview when he was on Brendan Schaub's show. He was saying that apparently him and McGregor were in physical rehab together. McGregor for his busted up knee and Berto for whatever he was in there for. And they got kind of close, and Berto got the call from the McGregor camp. And Berto was like, look, I love you, dude. You're cool people. I'm cool with you. But I can't do this. One, because you're not going to have my picture out there looking crazy. And two, if you win, then I got to go back to my boxing homies and have them be like, oh, you the motherfucker that helped the MMA guy beat us up.
Yeah.
You know? And I don't want to deal with that pressure.
Yeah. It's kind of a lose-lose. Unless you need the money, I don't know. It's kind of a lose-lose. I don't know why people would. Unless they were friends with it. And I don't know how much they're paying these guys to spar either.
Right.
Speaking of lose-lose, though, I think that it's funny. The more I think about it, the more this whole situation to me looks like a lose-lose for Mayweather.
Yeah.
Like thinking about the whole thing, I'm just like, damn, he is in a very, very tough position. I was watching Bas Rutten say something about how everyone's going to be saying to Mayweather, yo, you're going to whoop his ass. Everyone is counting, we'll whoop this little MMA boy's ass. Like, he doesn't know shit about boxing. He's going to try and take you down. He doesn't know nothing. And they're wrong, because if you watch McGregor's fight, his MMA fight, he barely lands a kick. He never takes someone down. He might stuff a takedown, but he's pretty much boxing with small gloves, more or less, like 80% of the fight. And they probably don't really know shit about MMA at all. McGregor, and this boy's this easy fight. He's gonna whip his ass, right. And that doesn't help. An easy fight, a huge pay-per-view, and an easy fight of everyone watching you when you're supposed to win doesn't help. You know?
Yeah.
You really want, if anything, the way most people look at it, you kind of want to be the underdog a little bit. You want to be able to, kind of in this position where he gets to shock the world. Yeah, he might lose or whatever, but it's no big deal if he loses. If he wins, he gets to shock the world. That is very strong motivation for this fight. Mayweather's motivation for this whole fight is just don't lose to this boy. Just don't get embarrassed. Don't even let him hit you. If you let him hit you, it's a loss. You know what I'm saying? I mean, look, it's a big payday, so that might, for a guy like Mayweather, that probably works. That probably makes him hungry. But it doesn't. There's not that much upside for Mayweather apart from the money, and there's huge upsides for Mayweather. There's almost no downside. So mentally, that already the whole thing started in McGregor's favor, and it just looks like momentum-wise, step by step, McGregor is building momentum, and you can see it with the odds. Everyone's putting their money on McGregor, and Vegas is scrambling to protect their odds. This might be one of the biggest bookie losses in history. This might be the worst day for Las Vegas in history. Because they gave outrageous odds on Conor McGregor, and no one in their right mind would bet on Mayweather. And slowly, McGregor's been building momentum, talking himself up, winning the mental game, winning the shit-talking game, beating up Paulie Malignaggi, getting the 8-ounce gloves instead of 10. And it's just building and building, and it's just, I don't know, it just looks like things are just shaping up nicely for the MMA fans.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think you hit it on the head. There is no losing this for McGregor. If McGregor goes out and as soon as they are within arm's reach, Mayweather knocks him out, McGregor still wins. Still wins. He just walks away with the biggest payday he's ever gotten. His notability or notoriety has gone through the roof. He's supposed to lose this fight. This is like me challenging LeBron James to a one-on-one basketball game. I'm supposed to lose.
Or at least it looks that way. We're just talking about, I don't know.
On odds.
Do you feel that that's the actual?
No. I'm not saying that's where the odds are in reality. But what I'm saying is, as far as the setup, as far as here you have the guy who's somebody who's been untouchable in their sport, who is now being set up against somebody who has never had a professional bout in that sport, the untouchable guy is supposed to win. This is supposed to go down in the favor of Mayweather. So if McGregor does lose, it's not like this big, like, oh, I can't believe this happened. It's like, hey, well, yeah, okay. He gets props just for having the balls to go up and challenge the best in an arena other than his own. If I go up to fucking Mike Tyson in his prime and like, you know what, fuck you, Mike Tyson, I don't give a fuck if you're Mike Tyson, let's get down, and I get knocked the fuck out, I still get some props for having balls enough to talk shit to Mike Tyson. Right?
But then the flip side of that is that what McGregor wants?
That's definitely not what McGregor wants.
Is that how he's looking at it?
No.
I think for him, a loss would be crushing, honestly. Like, now that I think about it, like, I think for McGregor, this would be absolutely crushing for him to lose. It kind of goes against what I said before, but at least in the eyes of Mayweather, he might not see it like that. Like, but I think McGregor is fully anticipating, if you listen to how he's talking and the way, just his history, like the way who he is as a fighter, he's not looking, the payday is secondary to him, the win is primary for him.
Yes. For McGregor, it's a different story. I'm just talking in general. As far as public perception.
100%. 100%.
That said, I think win or lose, McGregor is going to do a lot better than a lot of people from the boxing side of things are giving him credit for.
I don't understand anyone who, and it seems to be guys who don't follow MMA and are only boxing fans who keep saying this. I don't understand why people aren't giving Conor McGregor a shot. It baffles me. To say that McGregor doesn't have a shot is mind-blowing. Also, just based on the fact that Mayweather kind of squeaks by. Like, Mayweather's not a dominant fighter. He wins. He's dominant in terms of he never lost, right? But he'll win every fight by a few points. Unanimous decision, but by a few points. Like, it's never like, not for a long time, it's never like, oh, Mayweather he's not that dominant a fighter. He's not like Tyson. Like, people acting like Mayweather is Tyson.
Right.
He goes to 12 rounds every single time, and he always loses a few rounds.
Yeah, he doesn't steamroll anybody.
He doesn't steamroll people. I don't know what people are talking about. He is amazing. Don't get me wrong. He's one of the best boxers that ever lived. He is the best point fighter that's ever lived, that I've seen. And his defense is absolutely amazing. But he's not. I think people have got a little bit carried away, and I'm sure some people get carried away with Conor McGregor too, but they'll get carried away with, like, how easy of a fight they think that it's going to be from the world. I really don't see it being as easy as some people are making out to be. Like Conor has no shot. I mean, he smashes people up. He hits hard as a truck, and he's knocked out everyone, he's at least knocked down everyone I've seen stand with him, including Nate Diaz. Mm-hmm. He just touches people when they go down. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Now, his punching style is like more precision based, as opposed to, I don't think, he does have power for sure, but he's definitely more of a precision puncher, and the gloves do not lend themselves to precision punching in the same way that MMA gloves do. So that extra 2 ounces that he shaved off is really, I think, really helpful for him.
Well, definitely, for sure.
Right on the button.
For sure, not only the extra 2 ounces, but the overall size. Aside from the weight, just the gloves being less bulky allows you to get in and out of smaller places easier.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. And it stops Mayweather from his beautiful finger that he loves to do.
Yes.
It takes off just a little, like a little centimeter, but that centimeter can be all the difference,
Yeah, for sure. I think that you find this very much so in purist arts, and I think boxing has this to a very high degree, where there's this level of elitism. right?
Snobbery.
Yeah, when the more diverse that a fighting style becomes, the more various elements that a fighting style incorporates, I find the more willing to accept the possibility of a loss the participants become, because I can be, let's take boxing, right? In boxing, there's only two ways you can lose, right? Either A, by decision, or B, you get punched out. So if you can take care of those two factors, you're guaranteed to win. Then you move over to kickboxing, Muay Thai, Dutch, whatever style of kickboxing, right? You have decision, you have getting punched out, you have getting kicked out, and if you go into Muay Thai, you have getting elbowed and kneed out, right? Then you have the different ranges, clinch fighting, so on and so forth. Okay, boom. Then you go to MMA. You have punched out, decision, kicked out, kneed out, elbowed out, choked out, submit. The more various options the opponent has, the higher likelihood that he has a strength where you're weak, and thus the more accepting of having to, okay, well, you know what, damn, this guy could get me in X, Y, and Z way because, you know, I'm really good at knees and I'm really good at wrestling and ground and pound, but my boxing's a little iffy. Or I'm really, really good at boxing and my takedown defense is good, but if he gets me down, my jiu-jitsu is kind of...
And going back to this fight, McGregor, his strength is boxing. It's boxing. It's his hands, by a long way. That's what makes him great. It's not his wrestling. That doesn't make him great.
No.
He's probably good at wrestling. His jiu-jitsu is probably okay. His kicking is cool. He does some cool kicks. But he's not, it's his, it's his boxing. And I guess but what you said, I guess it kind of goes both ways. In that the boxing purist would tell, and I love boxing, I've always loved boxing, so I can see it from that point of view too. A boxing purist will say, alright, that's very, very true, that boxers tend to be more narrow-minded, and that's because boxing is a more narrow-minded sport. There's not that much surprise element in boxing, and that's why we know, that's the very reason why we know that Mayweather's going to win this fight, because boxing does not lend itself to shocks in the same way that MMA does. It just doesn't. I mean, there hasn't been that many shocks, high-profile shocks in the boxing game in the past 10, 15 years, I would say. You know, it's a little bit, maybe one way or the other, but you kind of know what's going to happen. You know, kind of know. It's not a big shock usually.
Right.
Even with the heavyweights, like Joshua Klitschko, it was great. Like the Anthony Joshua Klitschko fight it was a great fight. It was really fun. It was very back and forth, extremely exciting. But on paper, when all is said and done, that's kind of what I thought was going to happen. You know?
Okay.
You kind of knew that it would be a close fight and Joshua would nick it, would overpower him. But I think that a boxing purist would say, the exact reason why we are so narrow-minded, right, and we are so singularly focused, is because of the way that the sport of boxing is set up, and that's why we know that McGregor can't come into this sport and just bust his way into being a champion or whatever. Is there a championship on the line now?
I don't think this would count as a championship, a legit champ fight. I guarantee you, if Conor McGregor wins it, he's going to claim championship.
Yeah, I think all of that, and that's nice, because we were saying, and we've said this before, the whole belt situation in the UFC is a mess.
Yeah.
The belt situation in boxing is also kind of a mess because there's so many weight classes, and it's kind of refreshing to not give a shit about. This almost goes back to the days of UFC 1, where you were just really interested in stylistically, elementally, martial artistically, how this fight is going to pan out and what's going to happen, and you don't really care about who's got the belt, blah blah blah. That gets that's secondary.
Yeah.
The accolades and so on and so forth are secondary. Everyone is looking at this as an exhibition, a real exhibition, and that's why I love this fight. Why for me, it's win-win. Whether McGregor wins or Mayweather wins, I have no idea what's going to happen. Honestly, I am very, very 50-50 about it, and I don't see anyone who is 100% sure on either way. I think they're lying to themselves. I think this is an absolute spectacle, and it's amazing in that regard. And to say, "Oh, I know what's going to happen," is you're lying to yourself.
Right.
This is a big question mark. That's my opinion. Having said that, I did put my money down on Conor McGregor.
Okay.
I did, and I'm not a betting man usually, but just the odds were too juicy. I don't understand how Vegas gave people such good odds on Conor McGregor. So in that regard, I do kind of want to see Conor McGregor win, but I have no idea who's going to win. The only reason I put my money on it is because his odds were so good.
Right.
But I'm really 50-50 in this fight.
Okay. Man, I've said this a couple times on a couple other podcasts, so I don't want to sound too repetitive. You know, I don't know where to go on this. Like, I can't find myself doubting McGregor because of his background of always overcoming the odds. But then at the same time, this is a new sport, or let me rephrase that. This is him competing publicly in a different sport and at a level against the highest level as his entrance into the sport on a professional level. So I'm like you, man. I'm just like, man, I really want to see this. This is the two baddest bullies on the playground about to get down. You know, I don't know who's
the two untouchables.
Exactly. Who's going to be the bigger bully? Who's going to be who's going to be the king of the school? You know, is what this is to me. I think more than anything else, and you nailed it right on the head with this, is that this is a interesting exhibition on style versus style. And it's not even fully style versus style because he's not fighting, McGregor's not fighting MMA, but more it's approach versus approach. It's a pure boxing approach in a punching contest versus a non-boxing, or at least a non-pure boxing approach to a punching contest.
Do you know what else it is for me? In terms of, it's almost slipped out in the technical realm for me. And I think I would love to actually watch the fight and break it down technically and see how it works technically. But it's almost also on the side, it goes back to that mental element that we keep kind of harping on about. It's about mental warfare for me. It's can emotion overcome logic? Can someone who really doesn't have any business winning the fight win based on bravado, confidence? You know, the X factor.
Right.
You know, the X factor of fighting that you can never quite put your finger on, and we don't really talk about much. But can that element, come to the fore? And can Mayweather? I think whoever wins this fight, honestly, win it mentally. Can Mayweather keep his cool, play his game, and make Conor fight his game, or will Conor succeed in taking Mayweather out of his element and making him fight his game? And to me, I think what that boils down to is mental warfare. I think that's ultimately the way I see it now. That's the deciding factor for me.
Okay. All right, man. Well, look, we're coming up on an hour. I think that's a good place to wrap this up, to end this on. I don't have anything better to say than that, man.
Yes, sir.
I guess we'll have to do a post-fight episode.
We will definitely do a post-fight episode.
And definitely, see if our predictions were right, kind of touch on what we found interesting. Let me say this real quick. One of the things technically that I'm curious to look for, two things actually, is how McGregor is going to go about setting up that left without the use of his Taekwondo style kicks to breach the distance. And two, McGregor doesn't jab very much with that lead hand, but he does use that lead hand to trap the opponent's lead hand and force them into using the cross so that he can counter it. Without the finger dexterity of the MMA glove, I want to see how he's going to go about holding or trapping or minimizing that lead hand without the ability to grab at the wrist and so forth. I think that's going to be very interesting as well.
I think what he might do is he might not take that approach and just try to blitz and overpower Mayweather, because that seems to be what he's saying. He says things like, I'm going to break his guard, his brittle hands. He would mention that type of thing, and it seems to me that his approach is, at least one of the big tools in his arsenal is to, when he says break the guard, just overpower Mayweather and hit him on the gloves and keep hitting him on the gloves until his shots kind of go through that guard, and that 8-ounce glove may prove the death of Mayweather. I think that may have been a really bad decision. That's why I see one of the biggest weapons in his arsenal. But again, like you said, how is he going to get around that with the new glove on? That's going to be fascinating to watch.
Yeah, man. All right, brother. Well, look, I will see you. I'll talk to you after the fight, and we'll see how this thing goes, man.
All right. Peace.
All right. Peace.